Thank you for the $20, Cannoneer. I appreciate you. You lose the beanie, broski. Let the locks fly. Potential Masvidal versus Paul. No, because if I don't have the beanie on, then I'm not really a character, am I? And it kind of defeats the purpose of being able to get away with saying what I want to say. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate your $20, Cannoneer. I appreciate you. Potential Masvidal versus Paul. I think Paul would win it, but I think Masvidal would be dangerous for sure to like catch him with a flush shot because Masvidal's tricky like that in the boxing. But Masvidal is a fat, lazy, and he should be back in the cage already. But we're not seeing him. Imagine how much better this next year of UFC would be if Masvidal versus Burns was on the January card. I wouldn't really care about Jamal Hill, Glover Teixeira. You know what I mean? We would have had Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns. Big, huge fight on the starting card of the year, the starting pay-per-view of the year. I feel like all of the stars in the UFC fight once a year. It fucking pisses me off, man. You know what I mean? They all fight once a year. Fucking annoying. Like Covington, Masvidal, I know because of their whole situation, but even before that, they were fighting once a year. Not Oliveira, but Oliveira, like, he's a star, but he's not there. It's not like bringing the fucking time to make him 800,000 pay-per-view by a card kind of star. You know what I mean? Oliveira's just loved by all of his fans, but not everyone knows who Oliveira is. You know what I mean? Raid BYM. And also Oliveira kind of has to be champ as well to bring in that kind of, because he had a lot of hype behind him, you know. Raid believe you mean? Nah, I'm good. Fuck him. People who actually think Nate's slow, sloppy, old, and weak ass would beat Jake in MMA are so funny, lol. It's just biased, wishful thinking. Jake will be 50 pounds heavier than him plus his youth. Not 50 pounds, but he will be 30 pounds bigger than him and youth advantage. Yeah, he will definitely beat Nate Diaz. But I reckon Nate Diaz would be taller than Jake Paul. Because Jake Paul is really like 5'11". 5'10", maybe. You know? Like, he's 5'11". Jake Paul's not over 6 foot, regardless of what he says. Because KSI is like 5'11", barely. And Jake Paul's like barely taller than him. I met him in person, he's 5'10". There you go. Like, they're not tall. Like, Logan, I used to think Logan was like 6'4", but he's like 6'2". You know what I mean? Thank you for the $2. Neftali Hernandez, Jon Anik smoking weed for the first time. I am experiencing a mild headache that is starting to turn into a wave of sporadic feelings all over my body that is forcing me to sit down on a sofa and slowly sink into the cushioning of it and close my eyes for good. Thank you for the $10, James Clancy. I appreciate your $10, dude. Yeah, I'll lose the weight, dude. We gotta get it done, you know. Thank you for the $5, Carl Maruski. I appreciate your $5, good sir. Thank you. Jones' competition early on in the title reign was weak. Evans and Rampage flat-footed, do nothings. Imagine what Yuri would do to Prime Evans or Jackson. It was very. They're all just fat middleweights, really, that were a little bit past their prime. Yeah. I get what you mean, bro. I get what you mean. Like, what would Yuri do to Shogun back then? He would just fuck him up, you know, and destroy him on the feet. But that's just how it is. Who do you want to see Paddy the Bell End fight next? It's not who I want to see him fight is like Hanato Moicano, Dan Hooker, those types of names that are in the lower end of the rankings. Who he will fight next is Tony Ferguson. Let's do a little poll in chat, actually, about that. Because I know that's what the UFC are going to do with him. They're going to say, hey, Tony, here's a massive fight. We'll give you a bit of a pay bump on a pay-per-view. It's Paddy Pimblett. You know what I mean? How does Figgy match up against... Oh, I'm not answering these fucking questions. I think he would do well against none of them. I don't think Figueiredo matches up well at 155. Like, against Dillashaw, like, maybe he could chin him at this point in Dillashaw's career, or maybe Dominick Cruz, but some of these young up-and-comers would beat Figueiredo at 135. And the top guys would beat him as well, I think. I just think Figueiredo's chin has sort of, like, saved him a bit because he's fighting smaller people. But I think if he makes some of the mistakes he makes at flyweight, at bantamweight, and gets caught by them, he'd be put to sleep. Figueiredo gets caught with his chin, like, out so far sometimes. You know what I mean? And he can ignore it at flyweight, but at bantamweight, you can't just ignore that. Would a Ronnie Lawrence ragdoll Raul Rosas Jr.? I think he would. I think Raul Rosas would beat him if they matched him up with him next, for sure. Your name is all in the Believe You Me chat right now. Well, they'll never read it, dude. They'll never acknowledge me. I appreciate your $2. Prime Tony Ferg versus Prime McGregor. Who wins and how? Prime Tony Ferguson versus Prime McGregor. Prime McGregor would have KO'd him. Made him look a bit silly as well, I think. Finished him. Yeah, way too hittable, I agree. Yeah, just running in. Would have chinned him. Man, these fighters have got excuses, isn't they? They can never just lose. I rate Dominick Cruz so highly, you know. It's fucking crazy. He actually doesn't make excuses for a loss. And no other fighter does that. That's why I rate Dominick Cruz. Especially after the Garbrandt one. Like, he had excuses, if you don't know. Behind the scenes, he had tendonitis in both feet, and that's why he went for Garbrandt, because he was so low ranked. He was like, this guy ain't going to be ready yet. I want to be on the co-main of Ronda Rousey's pay-per-view because I'm going to get all the pay-per-view shares. I want to get the money for this. And he had tendonitis in both feet going into that fight. Yet still, he just makes no excuses with the loss. You rate alcohol and cigarettes Cruz for not making excuses? No, for like a legit loss. Like alcohol and cigarettes, I get that, yeah, but that was a bit of an early stoppage for a championship fight. It's a fact. He would have destroyed Garbrandt. I think he would have beaten Garbrandt if he was healthy. I think so. He's very defensive in that fight. I think he would have put it on Garbrandt a little bit more and won heavier whilst he was not being knocked down in that fight, which would have made Cody a little bit more gun-shy, you know? Because, again, I say this so many times, Cruz won 2 rounds in that fight. The only rounds he lost were ones where he got dropped off balance or officially knocked down. And other than that, he was winning those rounds as well. He consistently outstruck Garbrandt, but just got dropped once in one round, once in another round, and then twice off balance in another round. But yeah, it was 3-2. And Cruz was just outstriking him for the majority of it. But Cody was doing all the dancing and shit because he knew he was up after he knocked down Cruz. He didn't get outclassed, dude. He did not get outclassed. Cody danced to the robot. That's a 10-8. Okay, fair play. I'm going to go now, guys. Sorry, I'm going to go to bed. I'm feeling tired. So while I'm feeling tired, I have to make the most out of it. See you later. Goodbye. Toodle pit. But yeah, Sunday I'll do the full card predictions, and then Monday I'll do a Gastelum Mavov breakdown, and then we'll just struggle to find content for the rest of that week, I guess. But maybe we'll do it on Monday. I don't know. But yeah, see you later. Goodbye. Toodle pip. See ya.